welcome to another up close video. Today's one is another one for Tonic's birthday week for 2022, and this one is their new memory book die set, which is called Memories to Cherish, and it's a similar concept to the memory book die set that came out in Cyber Week of 2021. Where it had like everything that you need to create your memory book in the one set. So you've got like your spine included and all sorts of different flips and flaps that you can do in there. You've got the main kind of pages to make really large books. You can make a smaller book and still use the spine with that as well. And this one you also have a waterfall element in here too. So I presume, as with the larger kind of double A4 die sets that we've had in birthday weeks and cyber weeks, I presume that you will get yours on a couple of their A4 magnetic sheets in some kind of cardboard folder with all of the instructions and inspiration in one of the wallets. So I presume that's how yours is going to come. I've actually been working with mine on the gorgeous magnetic CRaFTi stand that stands up like, if I can show you, it's a very big stand, so it's difficult to show on camera, but it stands up kind of like an easel card with the triangle sort of portion on it, and it's perfect for holding two large like A4 die sets on there. So I'm always using it when I'm working on memory books and really large like box projects and stuff like that, because it's so useful just to contain all of your dies together, and you can have it standing up next to you and you can easily pick which ones you want to use. I also recommend when you put your dies on something like this, just take a quick photo with your phone. That way you can put them all back on. If you're, you know, die cutting a load of stuff, you put all the dies away so you don't lose anything, carry on working, and then you can come back and pick some more out if you want to. Or it also means that you know one hasn't pinged off somewhere, and you might have, you know, lost it underneath your glass mat or something. It's just quite useful to be able to refer back to a photograph to make sure everything is still there. So with this massive large double A4 die set, you can create your gorgeous memory books. And I've said this before in the past, I'm not the best at memory books, and I tend to try and make my own sort of weird spine kind of thing, but it never looks as good as everybody else's. So I don't tend to do construction videos and stuff on memory books because I'm not the best at putting them together. I always find bits fall apart and stuff. So I've only got samples to show you. I haven't got a construction video to show you how to do it, but I'm sure that Tonic will have videos up. I'm sure they've probably got Jodie there making memory books, because she absolutely loves making her memory books. So do check out Tonic's channel to see, look for some more inspiration on these and see some construction kind of ideas. Whether it is with this set or whether it's with older memory book sets, you can literally cross-pollinate and, you know, pick all the ideas up from different memory books and apply them to this one as well. But this gorgeous design has the cut corners on it. I don't think there has been a cut corner one. I think memory book number 2 had like the inverted curved corners, but I don't think we've had a cut corner one. I might be wrong, but I don't think we have had a cut corner one, unless it was like a small one in a kit or something. I don't think we have. So this is kind of a different kind of concept. And you also have the 2 A4 die sets, and these are just slightly different from each other. So I think the idea is that you would use this one as your cover, because it's practically the same like this way dimension, but it's just slightly bigger this way. So I would presume that you would use this slightly larger one as your cover, and then you have the slightly smaller pages inside. But I actually used some of the smaller dies for one of my memory books to make a smaller book, and then for the other one I used all of these larger pieces, but I actually folded them, so I got a square book with a fold out or a pocket on the inside. I thought that would be a different kind of way of showing you how to use it if you don't particularly want to make you know, like an almost A4 sort of sized memory book. You can actually fold these in and create little flaps or flip out bits without having to stick different appendages on. You can just use like the whole main book page and then do that as well. I will measure this one for you. So I'm pretty sure this is the biggest one that you can create your memory book with, and it is 26. Actually, if we go from right at the edge of that bit, actually, so we'll leave those little bits hanging off. Right at the edge of the actual shape, it is 20 5.5 centimetres, or just a sliver over 10 inches, and then height wise it is about 17.5 centimetres, or just under 7 inches. So it's a really decent sized memory book, and you will need to use A4 sheets to cut all of these pages out. Although because of the height of this, you can still, if you do all of the different kind of ideas, I'm sure most of you who are watching this are like seasoned memory book creators, so you know how to leave your extra piece of cardstock here and you can fold that round to create part of the spine, or you know, you can do it to whatever sort of length you want. So I think the reason why they've stopped it being like just over 10 inches is so that you still have that little bit of extra room on an A4 sheet, so you can move this right to the edge and have that amount on this end still hanging over, so that you can create your spine portions and stuff. I don't know if I explained that very well, but if you love making your memory books, you'll know what I mean. But to create a memory book, you basically start with your pages like this, which if I show this up close, it's basically like a large matte and layering die, but this edge of it has two cut lines that just go off to nothing. And the idea is that you can leave your excess cardstock coming out of here, and then you can use that to fold into the spine, or to create your own kind of spine if you want to as well, or you can just leave a small little amount and use that to attach it to the actual spine that you can get in here as well. So this is how your pages kind of work, and then you have those mats and layers to go on top of it to you know, give you like a little mirror card mat around it, and then a patterned paper, or to cut out, maybe you wanted somewhere of storing all of like your grandchild's, or in my case my goddaughter's images that she's drawn me, pictures and stuff. You could make a memory book like this and then use these dies to cut them out, and then you can stick them all in a book and you can flip through them and, you know, see all of their artwork and stuff. So you could use it for that kind of thing, or you can use it for your patterned papers. If you get really large photographs cut, you could make an actual one of those like photo book kind of ideas, and maybe even die cut some of your photos. Or you might just want to use the die as a template and hand cut them, so you don't squash them and get any marks in them in your die cutting machine or anything. But you get all of these mats and layers, and I'll go through them in a little bit more detail in a second. But basically the idea is, with a memory book, is you have these page dies, whether it is this largest one here, the largest one on the other stack, or any of these smaller ones, they all have one die. There's 3 smaller ones here and then the 2 larger ones. They all have one that creates this sort of page format or cover format, and then you can use them in conjunction with this spine die. And the way the spine die works, just ignore the fact that these 2 corners are cut off. I think they just did that so that it fitted inside this aperture that's here. If you see how it was fitting in there, I think they've just done it so that it fits into there. But this is like a glue tab anyway, so it doesn't really matter that the corners are clipped off. But the idea behind a spine is that these 2 central sections here and here, the ones that have these little marks in them, that is where you stick your pages to. So basically you fold it so that these 2 pieces will push upwards and create a little sticky up bit. You will put some double-sided tape on the back of them and they'll stick together and they'll stick up, and the same with these 2. And then these bits will all be flat down, and you'll just have the flat piece with 2 sticking up pieces, and you can use those 2 pieces to attach your pages to. I do tend to, when I'm doing that way of sticking it together, like to staple them on and then try and cover it up when I'm decorating it, just to make sure they're definitely going to stay in place. But you can get away with red liner tape or your Nuvo Deluxe adhesive as well. I just feel like whenever I'm making a memory book, it's normally for like telly purposes, and you know, if it's going to be flipped through a lot or held up you know, vertically to show it to the camera, I feel like putting the staples on there really helps your pages stay in much better. So that's another tip if you want to do it like that, and it might actually go with your decoration as well. If you were doing a more of like industrial kind of style memory book or something, staples might actually be a cool feature to go in them, maybe paper clips and stuff as well. So that is kind of like the basis of how a memory book works. You have your spine die and then you have your pages. So I won't really tell you much more about making memory books, because there are tons of people who are far better at making them than I am, but I will run through with you all of the dies in here. So if we go on to this stack, which I've taken this one off of, you have the first layer that you can cut onto there, and it actually has a debossing line, a little tiny one, really tiny little debossing line. So if you cut that from mirror card or something, you'll have that beautiful, like almost like little bevel on the inside of it, and that will look fantastic, and that will layer perfectly onto there. And then you also have this layer, so you can do like a mirror card mat and then a patterned paper, which always looks lovely. And this one has got a piercing detail, and it has 2 debossed lines going around it as well, so you get that double debossed detail. So it ties in with this deboss, but it also you know, this could be used by itself as well if you wanted a larger border, depending on what kind of card you've used to make your actual memory book. Maybe you've used a coloured card and you really want that showing through. You can use the slightly smaller mat on there and have a bigger gap between the edge of the memory book and your mat that you're going to put on there. So that is the largest one from this first side, but we also have a large one on this side as well. And if I get these both off of here to show you, hopefully, I don't know if it's going to be that evident of how they're just slightly different from each other. You can see tiny bit taller that way, and if you put them this way, and if I line up where this point is, you can see it's just a tiny bit taller that way. That's why I'm thinking this first one that I've just shown you, I'm thinking maybe that's more of like the cover die, and then these are more of like interior pages for the large memory book. So I think that's why they've done it like that. So this is the largest side on this sort of the second set. I'll go through these in a second, but I thought I'd show you all the largest ones first. So you've also got, for this layering set, you've got the same one with that little sort of debossing line running around it that mats on perfectly. And then you've also got the next one down that's exactly the same as the other one with the piercing round it and then 2 debossed lines on it. Then you do also get one extra just plain edged one as well, and I think this would be a lovely size for creating card blanks with too. You could just cut this out and score it in half, and then you'd have a cut corner card blank as well. If I measure this one for you, this is 8 3/4 inches, or roughly 22 centimetres, by 4 7/8 inches, or about 12.5 centimetres. So a normal my sort of size card that I like to make, I normally do it 10.5 by 13.5, so this would be slightly more almost more square dimensions than my favourite size of card, but you could definitely work around this and use this as a card blank, or any of these ones actually, and you know, score them in half and create a cut corner card blank as well. So that is like the second big layering die set, which I would presume is the pages if you're making the really large book. But you could also do what I was telling you before about die cutting these and then scoring them, and then you make almost a square book that has square ends rather than the cut ends, but you have this piece that folds inside and creates a pocket or an extra flip out, so you can hide photographs and journaling and stuff in there as well. So those are those ones. Then I briefly touched on the spine die before as well, and I was saying you can get 2 sort of spine pieces to attach your pages on, but you can cut multiples of these and just stick them together. So stick this tab onto this tab and then extend it to make more pages as well for your memory book spine. And then these ones, we have got the smaller versions of all of these pages. So again, exactly the same idea as the other pages, where you have this piece coming off here so that you can create as long a piece of cardstock as you want coming out here, depending on your method to bind the book together. In the all-in-one memory book die set that we had in the Cyber Week last year, that actually had one of the eyelet kind of dies to go with it as well. So if you had that die set, or you have another memory book die set that has that kind of eyelet system, you could also cut that into this and do the sort of you know, weaving it together with twine or ribbon as well if you want to. But basically that is the next size down of a page size, and just in case you're interested, I will give you the dimensions of that as well. So this is 14.5 centimetres, or just over 5.5 inches, and then this dimension is 16.5 centimetres or just under 6.5 inches. So it's almost square, this one. It's just slightly more rectangular, but almost a square kind of idea. And so for that page, or this could be your whole book as well, don't forget you can make your smaller books too, you have the same rectangle just with the one debossing line and the same rectangle with the piercing detail and the 2 debossing lines. Then the next page size down, this one measures 12.25 centimetres or 4 7/8 inches by 10.5 centimetres or about 4 1/8 inch. That one measures. And again, you have the one with just the 1 deboss line and also the pierced one with the 2 deboss lines. They're keeping it the same and consistent all the way through these so that you've got everything that perfectly mixes and matches together. Then you also have the tiniest little book. This could be a book. You could make this a swatch book for all of your cardstock, your ink pads, your Nuvo drops, whatever, or you could make this into little flips and flaps inside your actual memory book as well, and same with any of those smaller ones if you're making the largest book too. But this page size, I might as well give you them all now, is 8.5 centimetres or roughly 3 1/4 inches by 7 centimetres or roughly 2 3/4 inches. So a lovely diddy little sized page. And again, you get the one with the 1 deboss line, and you also get the pierced one with the double deboss line as well. So you have consistent mat and layers all the way down the whole die set. I'm going to keep one of these dies out to show you with the next die as well. But those are all of like the main page and layering sort of dies. And then if I bring this back in, this is a waterfall die set. So there has been multiple waterfall die sets within the Tonic collection over the past few years. I think since I've been on the design team there's been at least 4, and there might have been one in a kit as well. But there could have been more before that as well. But the basic idea of a waterfall die, if you haven't seen one before, I need a magnet, I keep having trouble picking them up. Yeah, the basic idea of a waterfall die is you have this kind of a piece, which looks a little bit odd the way it's sort of put together. You have this piece here, which is actually a hole for you to put your ribbon in, and this is actually the piece you're going to pull to make the waterfall work. Then you have multiple score lines here, which are actually going to use this layer. So this is the first layer from the smallest page die. This is going to be where you embellish, and this will sit on these pieces all the way down. You'll be able to fit 4 of them on there to create your waterfall. And then right down here you have 2 slits. This is where the band is going to sit that helps the whole mechanism kind of work and allows you to attach it into your memory book as well. So this is the waterfall die, and this is the little bar that attaches it into your memory book that goes through those 2 slits. So I've got one cut out just to quickly show you how it works. So what you want to do is fold it in half like this down that middle score line, and I'm just going to reinforce it with my glide folder. And then you want to fold all of these score lines as well, and you want to make sure they're nice, good straight folds. Make sure all of your sides are lining up when you're folding these, and make sure they're nicely pressed into place as well. So they're really good kind of folds. And then this is your main sort of mechanism of your waterfall, and the idea is the bar that goes through here will hold it into place, and then you'll pull this piece and all of your pages will flip up and round using this all of these score lines. This will sort of be held downwards like this, and this will kind of flip round so that it's so easy to put together. I do recommend cutting a second one though, and just using this piece and sticking it over the top, because you've got the kind of the ugly side showing here, and this is going to be pretty visible because this is where you'll put your ribbon to pull it. But you also have the score lines in here, which is where you put your actual bar piece, and your bar goes through like that, and then you fold these two pieces round on the little score lines that are there, and then you stick just those two tabs into your memory book. Literally just those two little tabs, you stick them into your memory book, and then when that is stuck down in place, you can then actually pull this down, and that's how the waterfall works. I've got one in the memory book to show you, but I just wanted to show the actual mechanism and how you put that together. I think I did do an up-close video when one of the other sets of waterfall dies came out ages ago. So if I can find that, I'll link it at the end. But if not, just search CRaFTi Potential Tonic Waterfall and you'll probably find it. But I tend to stick this down with a little bit of foam tape, like a low profile 1mm foam tape, and it just gives a little bit of extra room for that to move. And you'll have 4 of these panels cut from that the first layer of the smallest little page, and they will stick on there perfectly. They're the perfect width for this, and to stick them on I just use a strip of 6mm red liner tape, just one strip just on there, and you'll stick the bottom one first, then that one, and then the top one, and you can decorate those before or after you've put it together. You'll still be able to see all of them as you flip them, and you can decorate either way. So that is your waterfall mechanism that you're also getting in this set, which we didn't get in the previous complete memory book kind of bundle die set. So that is those. Then we have also got a little tag set here. So we've got a tag, again a cut corner tag that's got the hole in it. It's got the piercing detail and that debossing detail as well. You've got an extra layer to decorate onto that as well. So you've got the little pierced layer that you can stick on top. So you can use these as tags to go in pockets onto your, or inside your memory book. You can just use them as gift tags for elsewhere as well, or any kind of idea. You also have this die in here as well. I'll get my magnet. You've got this one, and you've got another version of this as well. So you've got these two ones here, which are kind of like ribbon sliders. So you can actually slide your 9mm Craft Perfect double satin ribbons. You can slide them all the way through and have this as a little piece that moves up and down, or the ribbon is just a way of holding it in place. This could be like a band inside your book on one of the pages, and you could put like postcards inside it, or receipts or tickets, or you know, something like that. And these just sort of slide up and down to add a little bit of decoration. And you also have tons of words in here that you can use to decorate these little elements. I'm going to zoom you in closer rather than holding up the dies. I think it'll be easier. So you have all of these little rectangles here will fit on there absolutely perfectly. Or I mean, this you could put as a portrait slider, or you can have it as this will go vertically, but the piece will be horizontal, and then you can put all of the words on that as well. And you have, how many different words do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different words here. Let me flip them all around the right way and then I'll read them to you. So we have got, this one says believe in yourself. This one says treasured moments. This one says a moment in time. This one says home is with you. And this one says all you need is love. So you've got all of those different ones that can go on those two little ribbon sliders, or you can just put them anywhere you want to. I use mine to decorate my waterfall because I can't really put photographs in mine. I just use these as like little accents that you could put underneath a photograph as well, on that kind of idea. Then you also have a little pull tab. So this is like a little tab piece that you fold in half along here. I'll show you it in one of my finished memory books as well. They look fantastic from mirror card too, especially with all this like piercing and debossing detail in there. And you can use these to attach onto anything that you want to put inside a pocket, and then this will poke out the top and everybody will know to pull that little piece out. You also get the little layering die to go on here, which you could use as an aperture to cut this out too. You get this little layering die as well, which cuts a heart out and gives you some debossing hearts too, which will fit perfectly in that little area as well. You also have this one, which is exactly the same but gives you a debossed heart rather than actually cutting it out. You can use those little hearts as well, the ones that fall out. I actually use mine to decorate the other side of it, just to add a little heart onto there. And then you also have three of these debossing dies that have words in them as well. So you've got I love you and love is a heart. me and you, and then on this day as well. So you can use all of those to interchange into this little area here, or you can just use pattern paper or a mirror card or speciality card, anything that you want to really, you can put onto that to make it as a little pull tab. Then you also have this piece here which says Days to Remember, and I think this is designed to go on your waterfall. So I did actually cut mine separately and then stick it on, but I would recommend, because I told you about cutting a second one of this piece of the waterfall die, because the way you fold it, this ends up being the back showing here. So when you cut your second one, deboss the words into it and then stick the whole thing on top, because I only debossed this into a piece of mirror card and then I stuck it on, but then the mechanism gets a little bit caught if you do that. If you're going to stick this whole piece on, you might as well deboss your sentiment into it and then stick it on. I think it would look much better that way. So you can have Days to Remember with that gorgeous cursive font in the bottom of your waterfall, and then you can have all sorts of different days that you remember on all of the little pull tab pieces as well, or the little flips on the waterfall. And then finally, the last 3 dies in this memory book die set are 3 fantastically swirly, gorgeous sentiments. Like with all of the memory book dies, you always get these gorgeous swirly sentiments or phrases and stuff in here. So this one says Friends and Family, with a gorgeous cursive font. This is like a gorgeous swirly bit around the F of Friends. This one says Memories to Cherish, and then this one says On This Day, and you have the bubble for all of them. So this completely cuts out your sentiment, but you also have the bubble. So if you like to add things 3-dimensionally, you can cut this from a solid colour of cardstock, stick that onto here, and then use your 3D foam pads behind it. Or if you're like me and you like to do like messy, inky kind of backgrounds and stuff, but you just want to mute down the background behind your sentiment or your word, you can cut it from vellum, and the Tonic vellum is perfect for this as well. So I will put all of these dies away before I lose them, and then I'll be back to show you my 2 memory book samples as well. Okay, so these are my 2 memory books that I created. This one is the biggest small page, if that makes sense, so it's not the really large one, it's the next one down, and this is kind of how my book ended up turning out. I've done my usual foam tape spine on it, but some of them I have multiplied up so that I can fit other bits and pieces inside this. And then the other memory book is using the largest of the pages, but I've done it so they all like flip out like this, so they're folded in half. And then I've also done some window pages with some coloured vellum in there as well. So again, folding them, flipping them over, die cutting one of the other dies to create an aperture, putting the vellum in between, and then sticking around the edges so it looks like a complete page, and I've sort of hidden the join a little bit as well. So let's go through this one first actually, because this one has got the waterfall in. You can see its ribbons hanging out there. So my preferred way of making a spine is to leave those extra little pieces enough for my foam tape that I like using, and then I use foam tape to create the spine, literally just putting I usually just do 1 layer between each of the pages, but I put 2 layers for the first one so it allowed for the waterfall to stick in there, and for this one back here I put 3 layers because I've actually made a little mini book that's inside this book that comes out as well. So I've used the Friends and Family on the front. I've just used a load of papers that I had in my stash that kind of went together, and like stickers and things like that. So this is how the little waterfall works. So I've actually used mine sideways, but you can definitely use it portrait as well. Just depends how you want to put it in your book. And which way it's going to work better. Maybe you've only got portrait photos, so you want to use it portrait ways, but you can definitely use it portrait or landscape. And you can see on here all of those little words. So a moment in time. I've used Inca Gold to cut all of these out. This one is Believe in Yourself. This one is Home is with You. And then we've also got Treasured Moments, and then this is this one cut out, so Days to Remember, that debosses into there as well. So that's how you can put a little waterfall in there, and the only way it is attached is by foam tape behind those little pieces there, and that's how you attach it into your book. and then I've just really simply decorated it. Obviously, if you were making this for yourself, you would go more to town and put your photographs and everything in it. Then the next page is just really simple, just added some pages on and done a little bit of decorating. The next one, I've done a pocket in these ones as well. So again, same idea that I did in the big book, but I've just folded this actual page to whatever degree I fancied, and then made an actual little pocket in here. And I've used some of the smaller shapes, and I've put the little tags on there as well. So that's how those little tags will work. And you can deboss, you know, add those little debossing ones that have the words on, or you can use the solid one, or you can use the little heart one as well. And I've just put those in there. This is the little tag cut out, and you can see how the piercing detail on that debossing line looks around the edge. If I show you an up close of this patterned paper, you can see how that single debossing line looks around the edge as well. Even shows up on a thinner patterned paper, which is lovely. I think those are more of like a plain edge for the pages, so I can't really show you on that any detail. These are all the same kind of, the same actual shape, so that debossing detail is just the same on all of these ones. It's just that single line one that I've used. Again, another little pocket there as well. I've put some little bunting pieces in, and then back here I have made just this little piece here is actually a spine die cut. I had cut a couple of spines to use for this, but then I decided to just go with my foam tape method. As you can see, a big wad of foam tape here. I have covered the foam tape in the other book that I'll show you, so you could do the same thing with this one to cover that kind of yellowy looking foam tape that's down there, but I forgot about it, so I haven't actually done it for this one. But this piece here is actually the spine die that I've then just covered in a piece of patterned paper. You can see the clipped corners up here, and I've just stuck it on there with a couple of layers of foam tape on either end of it. And then this is not the smallest book, the second smallest book, so the one that's smaller than this but not the smallest one. And I've just made a little mini book using the other spine die that I had cut, and I've literally just put some pattern papers in there. I haven't actually properly decorated it, but this shows you how you get that double debossed line and the piercing on the next one down. So all of your dies within all of the different pages, the first one cuts the page, the second one gives that single debossed line, and the third one gives that double debossed line with the piercing detail, just so you can see that nice and clearly. And it works nicely on the pattern papers as well. And these white ones were actually the apertures that I cut out of the other book to create the little windows to put the vellum in. So you can, if you're cutting bits and pieces out like that, use them for other elements in your project as well. And this is, I think this is how a spine is supposed to be used. The way you fold all these bits and pieces, this is just one spine, you see. It goes down to this kind of a width, and it has two bits that poke upwards in here when you stick those bits together that I was telling you about before. And then you literally just stick your pages either side of it. I find with little books it works perfectly, but when I try to do like bigger books and I've maybe like, you know, put this on with this kind of system, I find that the tape doesn't hold enough, which is why I use staples and things as well. So play around with your memory books. If yours does fall apart, it's not the end of the world. You can definitely fix it. You'll just know for next time what ways don't work for you and what ways do work for you, because if I see other people making memory books, they'll make one and it'll look fantastic, but if I try and make it that way, it doesn't work, or it just looks rubbish, or, you know, it really doesn't go together properly. So I think memory books are a very personal kind of thing to put together, because not only are you putting your memories in them and stuff, but actually just creating them as well. There are so many variations of how you can create them. Do you like just having your pattern paper pages that you can add to afterwards, maybe making it more like a scrapbooking kind of idea, or do you like cutting into your pages, making those apertures in them, maybe putting a shaker in a page, photographs floating in pages or something as well, or making all the flips and flaps and magnet closures and all sorts of stuff. There's so many ways of doing it, and none of them is the right way or the wrong way. You know, you can just have fun and make it however you want to. So I'm just showing you a few bits and pieces of how I've kind of thought to put elements together in this, and I wanted to show how you can make the smaller books and how you can actually add a smaller book into your larger book as well, and it's staying in there really nicely using that spine die and a couple of bits of foam tape to hold that in. And then I've just got a couple more pages in here as well again, so this is more like a scrapbook kind of a book where you know, you've got everything ready here. You can just mount your photographs, cut some dies to go behind them, stick all your photographs on, add a little hidden tag behind a photograph to put your journaling on or something like that. Or if you hadn't put the pattern papers on, this could be an art journal, and then you could create your wacky background art journal pages, then die cut them, stick them in, embellish them with your quote or your sentiment you want to use, or your stamped images and stuff. So you can do a memory book however you want to. I do tend to, if I'm making one for myself, it is more of like an art journal rather than a memory book. But yeah, there's just so many different ways of creating them. So then the other one that I have done has a different spine. I was trying to do the supposed way you're supposed to make a memory book, but I also wanted to use my foam tape as well, so I've kind of done a different sort of spine for this one. So it's a little bit peculiar looking. This one is very sort of like straight and boxy, and this kind of goes to be in the same sort of width. But this one, I tried to use the spine, so there's a spine in there. Did I use two spines? I might have used two spines actually, but then I've also put foam tape between pages as well. So not only have I stuck pages to the actual spine using the spine portion where you can see down inside, I've then, when I've stuck two pages together, I've used a bit of foam tape between them to give them a little bit of space, whereas normally you would have stuck those two together around the spine, but I've used a piece of foam tape, so I've got two pages where you would normally just put one page on one of these spine pieces, so it just gives you extra pages in your book. This would normally have been like a 2-page book with your cover, but now I've actually got 6 pages in it with the cover as well. And you'll see all of this blue here. This is the Atlantic Drift glitter accents, and the reason why I thought to use this was because kit number 57 has just come out as I've been making these memory books, and this was in there, so it was on my desk, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I could use that to cover up the foam tape, and it works really well actually. You know, where you can see the foam tape, so I suppose it's quite good I didn't cover it in this one. So on here, where this, I mean, this was only one layer of foam tape on the blue book, but you see there you've got 3 sort of layers. It looks a little bit ugly. I could have wrapped some twine around that before I finished off the spine and sort of hidden it that way, but you can also bring in some of your Nuvo elements and just squirt some Nuvo glitter accents down there, because it dries really hard and secure. It's going to secure it really nicely for you as well. Just leave your book open while it's drying, and then you have this gorgeous glittery spine, which makes it look more like a design feature rather than a construction feature as well, which I think is really nice. So I've just done that on all of them, and the top and the bottom. I could have finished this spine in the same way as this one and, you know, put this piece going over the top as well, but I quite like the glitter showing, so I did leave it on this one, and it kind of shows how I put it together as well, like leaving the sort of gaps between them and stuff. But this was the other one that I created, and all of these pages, the 2 outside ones are that larger die, and then all of the interior pages are that smaller one that's just a tiny bit smaller, and then all of them I have folded like this. I think in some places I did actually use the wrong matte layer because I cut everything out in one go, so I think I kind of mix and match the wrong layers, but they still look fine, so it doesn't actually matter. You've just got like a larger white border here than you have at the top and bottom, but it still looks perfectly fine. And like, I've just left bigger gaps between here where I've trimmed the papers so that they sort of go on the flips and flaps and stuff. And yeah, so these pages are exactly the same as this with the fold, but when it was folded I die cut with that rectangle so that I could put some coloured vellum in there, and then I just stuck it all shut and then hid the sort of seams with some ripped pieces of paper and that. And I've just used some little bunting pieces, some stickers and tags and things. Go through your stash and see what you've got. I'm sure you've got hundreds of things that you could use to decorate your memory books and stuff. I got some foiled vellum here as well. This is sort of like a placeholder to then cut a square photograph and put it in there. I've also made some of these pages pockets, so even though this one flips out still, on the other side, on this side, when I stuck my patterned paper on, I left it so it was a pocket, so I can actually actually put extra of these die cuts poking out of the pocket, and even some pattern paper ones as well to tie all of the colours in together. And then here we've got the flipping out one, so you can hide photographs or journaling underneath here so people can't see it when they're normally just flipping through. You could use a magnet on there as well if you want to, again to kind of, if someone saw this on your coffee table, they might not know that that's a flip then, and you can sort of add something hidden in there and they'll just sort of flip through it thinking it's more like a book without the interactive portions. I've got another page with the coloured vellum on there as well. This could be a shaker though. You know the thin shaker creator pockets that Tonic do? You could do something similar to that, maybe taking a larger one and folding it in half and then sandwiching your confetti and stuff between it and then putting that in here, just using some thin acetate or even like the cellophane off a packet of Craft Perfect paper or something. You could put the 2 layers of that and squish your sequins in between it. You can do what I've shown you relatively recently in a video where you put the confetti in a laminating pouch and laminate it as well, and then you could have the confetti sort of floating in here. You could laminate a photograph into a pocket and use that as it's like a floating kind of element as well. So many ways of you know, making a little window and decorating it and stuff. Again, I've just used some stickers and things, and I quite like how this book works actually, because where I've stuck them together like this, you've got like a bigger area, it opens up a bit flatter, and then when I've stuck them together with the foam tape and I've put the glitter accents down there, it sort of folds out differently, so it feels a little bit different as you're looking through the book as well. And I've got more bits that flap out. These bits could have been pockets as well. I did just stick them down, but they could have been pockets too. You can add the spine die like I did in the other book and have a smaller book in here as well, or just a wad of photographs or some tickets or receipts or postcards or something as well. So it's basically all the same kind of thing, just going through this, you know, with the little pocket, and then patterned papers and extra die cuts and stuff, and then more like flips and flaps coming out on there as well. And then I've just done the back, and then for the spine I actually used one of the spare die cuts that I had, so you've actually got that clipped corner kind of element here, and this just gives it a little bit of a different look as well because you haven't got the clipped corners here. But if you wanted the clipped corners there, you can easily take a spare die cut, so take the same size as the one you have actually used for the page, or even just take the die and then flip it over and hold it up against here. Let me actually just do that to show you what I mean. So this is the die that I used to create that page, but if I wanted this to also look clipped cornered, I could just line this up along here and cut there, and then okay, when I fold this out it would have like a triangle missing or half a diamond missing here, but that would be another cool different look for your book as well. Or you can just create a really large book and it would come out to this size. So there's loads of ways of changing it, personalising it, making it be exactly what you want it to be, or fit exactly what you want it to fit inside. Whatever you want to do, there are so many ways of using memory books. So if you've never tried them before, this kind of set is the perfect one to get because it is a complete memory book die set in there. You've got the double A4 die set, and you've got the spine, you've got the pages, you've got the flips and flaps, you've got the mats and layers, you've got extra little words and things as well. So you've got everything that you need to create some memory books. And then if you really love the memory books, you can go and have an explore and see what other things Tonic have done in the past as well. And, you know, see what else you want to add into your stash too. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not sure whether this is at the beginning or the end of birthday week, but hopefully you're enjoying all of the birthday week videos that are going up as well. And I hope you enjoyed this up close video looking at Memories to Cherish complete memory book die set. And hopefully looking at the memory books that I made, or my bad explanations of the die set, kind of helped you with, you know, figuring out what this kind of die set is for as well. So thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in getting hold of this die set, I will leave affiliate links in the description box below my video and also my blog post as well, and I really do appreciate you taking the time to click on my affiliate links and use them as well. I'll get a small commission of however much you spend on the Tonic websites, but it's at no extra cost to you, so I really appreciate you taking the time just to click the link, because it doesn't make any financial difference to what you're spending, but it makes a big difference to me, so I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!